before we jump to tax reform, we really need to get the economy back in balance. We need to get the supply side of the economy up and running, shops open, cafes open, and then we need to get demand back. We need to get people consuming and returning with confidence into commercial activity and businesses with that confidence also. And once we've achieved that, then we can move to some tax reform. And we know that after recessions and after impacts like with COVID and with previous things in the past like the GFC, it takes a long time to get economies up and running. It can take up to 10 years to get the economy back. And so over the coming period, we're going to need to get stuck into tax reform to create the longer term impetus to have a thriving domestic economy.
One of the things that people have really focused in on has been stamp duty in particular as being really prohibitive in turnover in the economy when it comes to housing in particular. Would you see this as somewhere where there would need to be reform?
Very much. We know that stamp duty is one of probably the worst taxes in Australia for its impact on the economy. We know that it stops people moving into houses which are better situated for their work and for schooling for their children. And we know that it means that people don't downsize when they have a property which is really more than what they need. And that's because when you have a transaction, you've got this additional cost in regard to moving property. Whereas in comparison, land taxes we know are a much better way of taxing the ownership of property. And so one of the things we need to deal with is looking at each one of the states and how they can move from stamp duty regimes into land tax regimes. And we know the ACT has started with that. But we need to look at how we can do that around the country.
And your modelling shows that it's going to take about 19 years to get back into balance.
Well, exactly right. If we just anticipate population growth and productivity and participation as we have right now, if we have an economy performing as we did before we came into COVID, then for the budget to get back to a surplus position for the federal government, we think would take about 19 years. And then to pay off the debt, which we're going to accrue just through this period, we think that would take 35 years. So obviously, we need to stimulate the economy. We need to lift it. We need to look at measures we can take which will improve the performance so we've got a stronger performing economy, generating more revenue so that we can do better than that 19-year estimate.